Welcome to Discovering. Tonight we'll check out Camp Hiawatha, an amazing place dedicated to scouting.
Camp Hiawatha is a special place.
And Kristen takes a look at the proper way to harvest birch bark.
When you're actually harvesting the bark, you only want to take what you're going to be using, only take what you need.
And a quick stop at the kitchen of Mary Melner. Stick around, that's all tonight, right here on Discovering.
The secret streams that flow beneath the cliffs of colored stone. Forest thick and healthy with birch and pine and oak. Surrounded by the greatest lakes this world has ever known. The black bear's awesome presence as he roams the hills and fields. Call of the timber wolf, the loon's lonesome trill. The eagle soaring high above, the trout lies deep and still. These are what I treasure, the only way I measure feelings that I have for this fine land. There is so much to discover when you're a long-time lover of northern Michigan.
I went to Camp Hiawatha not knowing what to expect. I found hundreds of acres of land, a beautiful lake, and a whole lot of scouts.
Camp is here in the heart of Hiawathaland Forest in Elder County. Camp Hiawatha is a special place. We've been coming here as youpers ever since I can remember. I had two boys go through the scouting program, right from Cub Scouts on up until they earned their Eagle Scout. Both of them served and worked here at camp on camp staff.
Camp Hiawatha has 240 scouts here this week. It's the first week of summer camp. Summer camp is a week-long resident camp for Boy Scouts or for Scouts USA. Scouts USA includes girl troops and boy troops.
It's really fun being up here because I don't get to go to Michigan a lot, and it's really nice up here. A lot of woodsy area. There's a lot of mosquitoes. Yeah.
The scout camp, we don't really call it Boy Scout camp anymore because it's involving the girls. It's the girls' first camp out here for the week long, and we're learning a lot, enjoying everything that we're doing. We're working on merit badges, camping, cooking, waterfront. The girls are super excited about this experience. They're just gaining so much experience, not just with the different badges they're doing, but also just life experiences they're gaining.
Well, we could take different merit badges, and I'm doing life-saving, swimming, reptile and amphibian. I finished art, and it's pretty darn fun.
Yeah, it is. There's so many things that we can do, and we had campfire last night. We watched all of the staff members kind of embarrass themselves a little bit. That was really funny.
It was funny, yeah.
And all the merit badges that are offered here, it's amazing how many that we can do in a week.
It's pretty fun, too.
The food is pretty good, too.
Some of our things that we do here, we work on merit badges and rank advancement requirements. We have a shooting sports. They can learn how to shoot a black powder rifle, 22 rifle, 20 gauge shotgun. That we have an archery range. We have a tomahawk range. We have a number of different merit badges and things that they can do at the ecology area. They'll learn about environmental science, insects, mammals. There's a whole plethora of things that they can do there. We have the handicrafts area where they can do pottery, leatherworking, basketry, art, sculpture. So there's a number of handicraft items that they can learn to make and create at camp. We have a scoutcraft area where they learn their basic scouting skills, how to build a fire, how to properly use a knife, axe, and saw, how to tie ropes, how to build things using ropes and poles called lashings. They learn wilderness survival techniques there. So how to do geocaching and orienteering skills. Down at the waterfront, we have lots of boats, a big swimming area for the kids to go swimming. They can go sailboating, motorboating, rowboating, canoeing, and paddleboarding. We also have a log rolling that they can do.
To do the waterfront, you have to take swimming tests. We have 3 different levels. And depending on what you pass, you can do canoeing if you take the hardest test. And there's kayaking, sailboats. And then there's those that just want to splash in the water and cool off. You can take swimming merit badge. There's a lot of different things you can do down here. This is one of the hot spots at camp. The Scouts love to come here.
We have 240 kids in camp today. They stay at different campsites. We use the patrol method here at Camp Hiawatha, and the patrol method is a way to teach Scouts the basic leadership skills they need to work with groups. We have patrol cooking, so they cook their own food, they clean after themselves, they have to take care of themselves, they cut their own firewood for their fires, they have to assign jobs and stick with those jobs, and the patrol leaders have to learn how to make sure those jobs are getting done.
Patrol method is, I feel, very important. It teaches the Scouts, all of them, to be self-reliant, gives them just some confidence to go on, and stuff they can use in everyday life once they're not a Scout.
Well, the property was purchased in 1967, and it had already been sort of a corporate retreat center, a rustic corporate retreat center. And so there's 800 acres of property. There's gorgeous Bunting Lake with a fairly large island in the middle of it. And so what it allowed us to do as then a council, now a district, was create a model camp. So we've got phenomenal facilities. We've got flush toilets in every campsite, which is unheard of. We've got a gorgeous waterfront. We're adding to the capability down there with a new storage building. We've got a NRA-approved rifle range and archery range. And so there's a little bit of something for everybody here. You know, you can spread out and go on hikes. You're close to Munising and all of the high adventure stuff that we can do there via trail riding or horseback riding or kayaking in the big lake. And so it really does offer a little something to everybody. So one of the benefits of having our own lake and all of the property is that you're not going to see, recreational boaters and recreational ATVers on the property. And so you really can offer Scout-only programs and give those young men and young women the opportunity to really, enjoy those facilities, have fun, earn the merit badges that are associated with them without being interrupted by people water skiing and people water tubing and high-speed boating and ATVs running everywhere. And so it's our own little piece of heaven that Scouts can use and have used to really learn those life skills that we teach. We can host about 475 or 500 Scouts here facility-wise, and we're working to get more troops from lower Michigan and from southern Wisconsin and the Chicago area to come up and experience a great northern camp.
I'm the camp director at Camp Hiawatha. This is my 5th season here. To become the camp director, first you have to have the passion and desire to want to help the youth. The other thing is we have to do some training, go to National Camp School. National Camp School, we spend about 7 days there, and we learn all the rules and regulations we need to do, plus look at some of the program and how we can best implement program for the youth that is safe and fun at the same time.
I am a Scout mom first, but I'm also a leader in a troop, and I was a Cub Master, so I've got a lot of experience in Scouts. And when they asked me to work here, I started out as commissary director, and now I'm program director, and I had to go to camp school to do that. So you get certified. A lot of training. You're learning how to do your position, but then there's other things too, like youth protection. There's first aid, the rules and regulations, a lot of different things that we have to know to be here to keep them safe, but have fun.
I oversee the health of the camp, the staff, and all the campers, and medications I'm in charge of. Making sure that the Scouts get their medications first thing in the morning, or in the afternoons or evenings. First aid too. We have kids come in all the time with bloody noses and that sort of stuff, and seasonal allergies and bandages and band-aids. That's what we're here for.
It doesn't seem like things have changed too much. This is my first experience at camp. But from what I'm understanding, things are running exactly the same way. There's just a little dynamic difference that the girls are in their own groups, so they're completely separate from the boys. There still have to be arrangements made as far as bathrooms and showering, which we would expect, but the girls are all in their separate tents, in their separate area, but still connected in that they're doing their merit badge work together. They are cooking separately. All the other things they're doing together.
A couple weeks ago we had a overnight camping trip where we competed with the boys in skills that included lashings, building a bow, We went on an orienteering course, and we were the only girl troop there. And so we didn't exactly think we'd do that well, but we ended up winning. So
It was pretty rainy too, but yeah, it was fun.
Yep.
One of the things that scouting does for the kids, they learn a lot of different skills. They have to work together as a patrol. They make decisions who their leadership is, and then that leader takes the time to work with the kids, work with each other, to work as a team to accomplish their goals, whether it be for merit badges or simple as patrol cooking or campsite selection. The kids that do this, their ultimate goal is to obtain the rank of Eagle Scout. Eagle Scout's the highest award that a scout can receive. It's also one of the awards it's recognized by almost all corporations as being a good leadership skill that they've learned, and they'll tend to hire those kids before they'll hire other kids. If you're interested in having your youth to become part of scouting, you go on the website and look for a site called Scout Me In, and from there you can enter your zip code and locate the troop or cub pack that's the closest to you, and I'll provide some contact information, and you put your information in there and somebody will come and contact you to make sure that what you want to do.
There's a lake, they got a creek where they can do ecology, so it's perfect for things like catching tadpoles, studying snakes and stuff. The lake is perfect for waterfront activities like canoeing and motorboating and swimming, life-saving, and all the different kinds of trees and birds and wildlife. It's crazy.
It's just really fun coming up here because it's Michigan.
Buju, Giddiga Biju, Nindajinika Zajija, Kindudam, Wikwe Dong, Gindu Japan, Ojibwe Nishnabe, Nini and Dao. So my name is Jerry JONDREAU. I am a tribal member from the Keweenaw Indian community, and I was asked to come out and help with a birch bark harvesting workshop. We have a guest, Minna, who's here from Finland, another culture that has some deep roots with the birch trees, showing some of their methods of harvesting to make musical instruments and other utilitarian uses. And I'm out here to also share a perspective from some of the teachings that I've had about the proper harvesting techniques to ensure that the trees remain healthy after you harvest the bark. And for the people that don't know about harvesting the bark, I think I've heard a lot of comments about we're killing the trees when we do this. And that's why it's very important to know what you're doing, because you can kill the trees, but if you do it at the right time and using the right methods, the tree is absolutely fine. And so we've coexisted, as Ojibwe people and with the WIGWASITIG for a very, very long time. And you can do it in a way that it doesn't hurt the tree, and it can share its gift with you. And so there's typically a window in the summer, kind of about middle June to the middle of July, where the trees actually give their bark up. And you don't want to cut in too deep. You don't want to cut into this cambium, this cork cambium part of the tree, because that's what it uses to transport its water and nutrients. So if you cut too deep in there, you'll disrupt that flow, and you're essentially girdling that tree, and so it'll die. But if you're gentle with it and how you go in to get that bark, if you just go into these layers up here, when the tree's ready, it will give you that bark freely. Small little incision. Don't have to go too much. And what you want is if you can work that up and get to that corky cambium layer, you can just feel the bark at the inside. And if it's nice and wet, then you know it's ready. And if it's kind of dry to the touch, then just leave it. And then if you just do these little test spots like that, it's not going to make a big difference. And then when you do start, then you can actually incorporate that into if you're doing the strips, you can incorporate that into it. I do the sheets, so I'll cut on this line when it is ready, and then that's all. You're not losing a lot of bark that way. When you start cutting into this bark and it's ready to give, it'll essentially pop off of the trunk. See how it's popping a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really important to be very gentle when you're doing this, or to at least have someone show you how to do it properly before you try to do it yourself. And when you're actually harvesting the bark, you only want to take what you're going to be using. So if you have a project in mind or something, you only take what you need. Sometimes that inner layer likes to stick, so you might have to drag it through a little bit more. If you find a really nice stand of birch bark trees, don't go in there and just take everything. Just one tree, maybe 2 trees will do it. If you do it at the right time, then you'll have, you know, those trees there for many, many years. And then also make sure that if you're going to be harvesting bark from these trees, always take a look at the tree as well. You want to make sure that you're harvesting from a healthy tree, because when you take this bark, you're stressing the tree. When you look at the tree itself and you look up top and you see some of the crown dying back and stuff like that, or you may see some other deformities on the bark, that tree is likely already stressed. And by taking the bark, you're adding another stressor to it. And so making sure that those trees are healthy enough to share with you is really important as well.
It's also important to remember not to harvest birch bark from private property without the landowner's permission. Public land agencies require permits for harvesting any type of bark or trees.
And we find a good site and healthy trees that are capable of sharing with us. We always give something back, and we always introduce ourselves as well. So we let them know who we are, where we come from, and why we're there. You know, if you're going to be making baskets or you're going to be using it for ceremony, that's what you'll let the trees know when you come here. It allows us to sort of pause for a little while and remember why we're there, and remember that we're taking something from another living being. Let the trees know that we have a good group of people that are out here trying to reclaim their identity and their culture. And I ask them to continue sharing their gift with us so that we can continue to live what we call Minobamadazi Win, or the good life. During the treaty period of 1842 and 1854, the Anishinaabe people of the western UP, northern Wisconsin, and over in eastern Minnesota as well, we had ceded millions of acres of land to the United States government. And in doing that, we also retained our rights to utilize the land itself, and birch bark is a big part of that. It's a big part of our culture, and it's a big part of our identity. The birch tree is a teacher. When we do have people out here interacting with these trees again, they're able to hear some of those stories, or they're able to get some of those teachings that the birch has to offer. And I think that's really important for people in general to get back to nature. So.
Be sure to watch next week when the birch bark gets made into a trumpet.
Yes, it's
I was back in the kitchen with Mary Maliner for a quick look at something perfect to take along on your next camping outing.
This is a little bit of a different combination, but I really, really like it. It's a different kind of a salsa. We're kind of switching gears here. We're going to use the tomatoes, our rainbow tomatoes again. We're going to use some onion. I'm going to use some cucumber, and I'm going to use some mango. So this is a really good one over, you could use it over like a Cuban bean, black bean dish. For a vegetarian entree. You can eat it with chips. You can put it on top of fish, chicken, anything like that. So again, we're just going to start with a finely diced half of a red onion. And put that right in there. I like this salsa with a Cuban black bean dish that's got a little bit of allspice, a little bit of thyme in it. And you serve it over either rice or quinoa. It's a really, really good vegetarian option. And the mango tomato cucumber salsa makes it really fresh. So I'm just gonna add 2 small little cucumbers. If you had a large cucumber, if that's all you had was a large cucumber, I would probably peel it and get as many of the seeds out as you can. With these little ones, you really don't need to seed them. Cucumbers in the summer are really, really good for hydration. Chop them up and eat them, slice them, make sandwiches. And your mango's a little bit soft, so I'm hoping it's just perfect. When I look for mangoes, this one's probably could be a little bit riper, could have a little bit darker orange flesh, but it yields a little bit when you push, so I know that it's ripe. I try to find something that's not too squishy, something that may have been frozen during transport or something like that. So we really want to make sure that we get a nice fresh mango. It's got a real nice citrus flavor. So I like to just scoop in here with a small serrated knife and get the flesh out and then be able to chop it up. And the pit is in the middle. Right here, this is hard, the center is hard. Just gonna peel off the rest of this. This is like a salsa fresca. This isn't processed or anything, so it's going to be just really fresh. We washed our bunch of cilantro, and this I like to use the stems and everything. They're tender enough. Again, look at the colors, how beautiful they are. Salt and pepper, and then for a little acid, we're going to squeeze a couple limes in here, and then to finish it, just a little tiny bit of olive oil, probably about a tablespoon. So I'm going to chop this up really small, because I'm not sure how hot this one is. We don't want to overpower the flavors that are in there. I always like to go with a little bit light with the heat, and you can always adjust it and add more. It's hard to take it out, so again, good as an appetizer with chips, but also really good on a piece of fish, grilled fish, chicken, pork, anything like that. And there we go. Cucumber, mango, tomato.
Well, that's it for this week. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next week right here on Upper Michigan's very own Discovering.